Hi, this is Gary Dickson, and welcome to the first Meet the Candidate Facebook Live event of the season. This is the first one of these that I've ever done, so if it gets a little rough, I apologize. We'll be doing more as the months go on, but for now, this one will be 30 minutes, and I'll talk a little bit about myself. But you can read about me on my website, garyforsupervisor.com. Or you can always send me questions or whatever. So I'll talk a little bit about myself, and then I'll get to the questions that because I received a number of questions. So as you know, if you're on this, you know that I'm running for supervisor West Seneca. I'm a retired FBI agent, 27 years in the FBI, and before that I was in the U.S. Army. I enlisted when I was 19 and served for 6 years, then finished college, and then joined the FBI. I retired from the FBI in 2015. Some people ask, why am I interested in running for supervisor? And I have to say, I've been going to town board meetings for a couple of years, and I'm frankly appalled at the way the public is treated by the town board, as well as how our taxpayer dollars are spent, or rather how they are misused. I've spoken up at a number of meetings, at budget meetings, asking why our taxes are being spent the way they are, and we don't get good answers. As if you've been to these meetings, you know yourself. 12% tax increase in 2 years is simply unacceptable, and I'm like many of you, I'm fed up, and so I figure, what am I going to do about it, right? So I look around, seeing what's going on. I've talked to a lot of people. And a lot of the people who've lived here longer than me would say something like, well, it's always been like this, and it's always going to be like this. And they've kind of lost the desire, not the desire, the hope that there could be change in West Seneca. Well, as being in the Army, being in the FBI, having served the public for most of my adult life, I don't accept that it's always going to be like this. And I think it needs to be changed. I think West Seneca deserves a better town government. So the first question we got is from Claudia. She was the first question that I got online. And oh, by the way, so if you want to ask other questions, feel free to put them in the comment section on this on my page, on my campaign page on Facebook. If you want, you can also text me 716-777-2504. 777-2504. I put my phone on mute, so we'll get a text and I'll try to answer them. Like I said, this will be 30 minutes, so any questions I don't get to, I will answer online. So Claudia asked, what are you planning to do to attract young families to move and remain in West Seneca? And she talked about great schools, affordability, safety, restaurants, shops, etc. Well, of course, as you know, and I'm sure as Claudia knows, the town board has nothing to do with the schools. As much as I would like to have control over the schools, I don't. And as you also know, it's got the largest percentage of your tax budget. But the schools are in a way a separate problem that unfortunately supervisor has very little influence on. I will definitely work with the superintendent as well as the school board to try to come up with ways to save money. As far as affordability, I think that's one of the core things. How do we make West Seneca affordable for everybody, the elderly, young families, etc.? And for me, the answer to that is we have to get our own fiscal budget in order. Our own budget, we have to stop these tax increases. I mean, 12% in 2 years is simply phenomenal. If a private business that raises prices like that would be out of business soon. And the only reason they can do that is they just keep increasing our taxes. And I say, that's enough. We should start treating our taxes like they're our own money and not like there's just some infinite well of money that we can reach into. So it's really to keep families of all kinds in West Seneca. We need to be prudent in our taxes, and we need to be affordable. And I can talk later about what I would like to do to decrease our taxes, or at least keep them from increasing, at all. Safety, I think we have a really good police department. I think, to me, it seems that West Seneca is a safe town, and I want to keep it that way. We have a good police department, and we should support them. And then she also talks about restaurants and shops as being something that's attractive to young families. I definitely agree with that. That gets into the area of economic development. And we have to make West Seneca a place that these kind of places want to come. And I don't know how many businessmen I've talked to who have felt that the town board is not receptive, does not really listen to their problems. And I know if you ask them, they would say, oh no, we're very supportive. But I've talked to business people, and the majority of them have said, we don't get any love from the town board. If I'm supervisor, that's definitely going to change. And I can get into that more also. But I want to get to the next question. What do you plan to do with the Seneca Mall site? So again, this just gets down to economic development. As you know, the Seneca Mall site has been vacant for 25 years. It's an eyesore. It's one of the entrances to the town, and frankly, it's ugly. I mean, the town doesn't even seem to enforce the code. I mean, if you look at it, the condition of the site is horrendous. So it's a difficult problem, of course. I mean, I'm sure if the current town board could fix it, they would have. But I personally have already, before being elected even, I've met with 3 different developers just to get an idea of what goes into economic development in town. What attracts them, what doesn't, what roles do they, the finances play, support from the county, support from the town. All of this are going to be part of it. And one person told me, and apparently past town supervisors have kind of treated the supervisor job as part-time. And someone told me, well, if you're doing it right, there's not much for you to do. It's a part-time job. I don't accept that. It's paid like a full-time job, and I'm going to treat it like a full-time job. Right now, I work in a local bank. If elected, I'm going to quit that, and I'm going to devote myself to West Seneca full-time. And a big part of that is economic development. If the supervisor isn't out there, the supervisor is like the cheerleader of the town. If the supervisor isn't out there always pushing for West Seneca, meeting with developers, meeting with businessmen, meeting with our current businessmen to find out if they're satisfied with the support they're getting from the town. These are the kind of things that I would do, and I think this is a more than full-time job. So the Seneca Mall site would be part of that. It would be the #1 priority. I would meet with Pyramid, the owner, and we'll talk to them, and we'll kick around things that we can come up with, as well as meeting with other developers. So that's all I can give you for right now. I'm going to go to the next question. What is your opinion of the comprehensive plan? This came in today. So strangely enough, or luckily enough, about a year ago, I printed out the comprehensive plan, and I took it to Office Depot and had them print it out. And I got to say, it's very attractive, and you read through it, and it's got a lot of interesting information. I mean, it cost you, the taxpayer, about $65,000 to do this. It took 2 years to write. And then I look at the back. So there's on page 69, there's a bunch of action items. And frankly, I don't see that they're really being implemented. One of the problems is the town's budget. As you know, the community center and library costs, $14 million or so. And our bond rating went down last year. West Seneca doesn't have the money to invest in something like a comprehensive plan. And I think part of that is the community center, which is beautiful, but did all of our money have to go into that? And I don't think so. So I think basically, to answer the question I think Garrett answered, thank you. The comprehensive plan is not realistic. If you look at it, it's trying to turn West Seneca into Orchard Park Village or East Aurora. And I don't think we need to do that. I don't think we can do that. And I think we have to have a plan that's more realistic, and that we spend our whatever investment dollars we have, more wisely, taking into account the needs of our business people. We got to talk to the business people. What can they do? And then next question. How are you going to lower my taxes? Good question. This is New York. New York's an expensive state. Our taxes have been going up for a long time, and the financial condition of the town has been going down for a number of years. So this is a problem that we've arrived at for that over a course of many years. So this is not going to be easy to solve. Some of the things I can do very quickly, a centralized purchasing plan, perhaps even sharing purchasing with other towns. Salary with the not salaries, but overtime. We spend about $1 million a year on overtime. I'm guessing I'm pretty sure we could cut some of that down. And I would certainly when I get in, the first thing I'm going to do is encourage the town board to freeze the salaries of anybody whose salary is not set by a contract. That includes my salaries, the town board salaries, the highway superintendent's salary, and anybody else that we can affect. I'm going to give up some of the stipends that the supervisor gets, such as the budget officer. I know our candidate for highway, Brian Adams, is going to give up some of the stipends, and that's where we're going to start. So the biggest part of our budget is personnel costs and benefits. It's about 70-75% of the budget, and then our debt servicing is another 5 to 6 or 7%. So if we don't get control over our personnel costs, then really no other cuts are going to matter to us. So I'm going to work with the unions to come up with ways that we can save money. I suspect that part of it might be that as people retire, or as some people retire, we may not replace all of them. I am open to hearing from the unions what their ideas are, but we have to reduce these costs. If we can't reduce personnel costs, then we might as well shut down, because sooner or later, West Seneca is going to run out of money, and we cannot keep going to the townspeople for more and more money. 40% of the households in West Seneca get Social Security, either one or both people. The median income of a household is $63,000. West Seneca is not a poor town, but we're not a rich town either. And I think that we should let the taxpayers keep as much of their money as possible. And my goal is to not increase taxes at all over the 4 years that I'm going to be here. Next question. From Sue Ellen. So this is kind of similar. I'd like to know what specific steps you would like to make for spending cuts. So I've already talked about some of them. The centralized purchasing, better control of overtime, and then working with the unions to reduce the overall personnel costs. The current town board has saved money by not buying police cars. They've saved money by not paving roads. None of your tax dollars go to pave roads. It's all grants from the state. That's why we're in this situation that we are. At the last the budget meeting, the budget committee, they asked the budget people to find money for 12 police cars. What have they been doing for the last 4 or 5 years? These kind of things need to be budgeted and bought a little at a time every year. They can't suddenly say, oh my gosh, we've got to buy a ton of cars. So that's, it's common sense. It's budgeting and it's planning for the future. And that's what I'm gonna do. Another question. What's the first thing you'll do as supervisor? The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna set some ethical standards. There are a lot of things going on, a lot of, what seem to be, for the outside observer, very cozy relationships with certain contractors, cozy relationships with other people, and sometimes people know about it, and even if they don't participate in it, they know about it. If the way I think about it, if you're a town employee, if you're a public officer, and you know about either illegality or you know about things that are not ethically correct, and you don't report it, I'm afraid you're almost as guilty as the person that did it. It is every person's responsibility to make sure that West Seneca has the most ethical town in West New York, in fact, in all of New York. My dream would be that West Seneca has the reputation of a town that's clean, a town that's efficient, a town that gives great services to its residents, and a town that doesn't have any scandals. I mean, we could all think about how many scandals we've had just over the last few years. How are we doing on time? Oh, halfway done. Okay. Another question, would you support term limits? I think term limits are a good idea. I do support them. Should they be 3 terms? Should they be 2 terms? I think that's up to the town board to decide on. I would kind of lean towards 3 terms, so 12 years. But I mean, I think 2 terms is perfectly reasonable. That's the kind of thing that the town board would vote on. So we're going to have 5 people, and then we'll have a public hearing. We'd want to hear input from the people in the town. And really, I think all major issues that are discussed, the decisions that are taken in the town, deserve a public hearing, and so the public can make their thoughts known, and that includes term limits. One of the things that a lot of people are most object to about the community center library is that they didn't have a significant way to give their input. Yes, there were briefings about what the town board was going to do, but not about what should we do. Did West Seneca really want to spend $14 million on that beautiful building, which I will admit, it's beautiful, but like I tell people when I'm on the street, going door to door, if I went and bought a Mercedes, I would think, my God, I've got a beautiful car, and I would love to drive it until the first bill came in. And then I would think, well, maybe I could have gotten by with the Ford or something else. Perfectly usable, but not so fancy. If we had spent less than $14 million, if maybe we'd spent half of that, $7 million, I'm sure it would have been a very pretty and a very adequate library. That would have either meant that you, the taxpayer, gets to keep the money, so we don't take it, or if you're going to spend it, we're spending it on something else that could beautify West Seneca. For example, the comprehensive plan. Put some resources behind it. So, next. Does it make sense to buy cars by fleet, better discounts? I am sure there are ways to do it. There's contracts. There's the state contract. We can put out bids for directly without going through the state contracting situation. Leases are an option. There's all sorts of things. I'm not in a position right now to say which is better, but I would definitely, if I was a supervisor, I would look at all of those to try to get the best value possible for the town and for the police officers who are driving the vehicles. Got them? That's a lot of them. What do you think about a budget committee? I think a budget committee, if done like Cheektowagas, is an excellent idea. If I'm supervisor, I'm going to do like Cheektowaga did, and we're going to have a budget committee. Anybody that wants to be on it can be on it, and they will have access to all of the budget documents that I have access to, and they can propose cuts to whatever they come up with. It could be like an alternate budget. Obviously, they can't touch contracts, union contracts. Those are set. Those are basically law. So, but there are other things that they can look at, and I think the budget committee would look at that. Ideally, I would have, the supervisor has his or her budget process. So when that's announced in the fall, ideally I would like to have the budget committee announce theirs, or at least what things they would like to cut, and then I would look at them and we would merge them, and then that's what goes to the town board to vote. And I'll say another thing that I've learned or observed over the last couple of years going to the town board meetings. They never really have substantive discussions, and I didn't realize how odd that was until I started going to my fire district. The board there, the commission. Once a month, I go to the reserve fire hall and sit in on the committeemen's meetings. They have discussions, they have debates, sometimes they get a little angry at each other, and then they vote, and then they accept what the vote was. That's the kind of thing, and that's the kind of interaction that you can expect from a town board when I'm the supervisor. The meetings are going to be longer. Maybe we'll start earlier, but the public deserves to know and deserves to be a part of the discussions that the town board members have. What's your plan to help reduce costs when the blue collar contract is up in 2020? As I said, I want to come up with a way that we can reduce personnel costs without hurting the people who are on there now. Let's not forget that all of these negotiations are between equal partners, the town and the union. The union, rightfully so, is trying to get the best deal possible for its members. Me as supervisor, I'm trying to get the best deal possible for the taxpayers. Somewhere in the middle is where we agree, and that's what I am looking forward to that discussion. I'm looking forward to their ideas. They are the people that know their jobs the best. But I suspect that part of it, the solution is going to be as people retire, maybe we don't replace all of them, because as I said. One thing we're not going to do is change nothing. We have to change. We have to have a more efficient and basically, let's face it, less expensive town government. And with 75% of the cost being in personnel, and that's just, it's not, this says blue collar, but it's white collar, it's police, and it's the people who are not under contract. All of them have to somehow something has to give, right? I don't want that anybody who's currently getting benefits, they're not going to get hurt. People who are who are already working for the town, there's no reason for them to get hurt. But like I said, as people retire, perhaps we don't hire all of them. And I realize there are issues with that, but that's something that I would like to work with the unions, because it's in the union's best interest too, that West Seneca thrive as a community. I mean, these are our brothers, these are our fathers, these are our sons, our daughters, our mothers, our wives. They're working for the town. These are our West Seneca people. So, we want to do the best we can with them while being fair to the rest of the population. Got 8 minutes. This is a good one. You're not from West Seneca. Why should I vote for you? Good question. I'm not from West Seneca. I grew up in Los Angeles. I spent most of my adult life being assigned, first in the Army, then in the FBI, assigned all over the world. So yeah, you're right. I'm not from West Seneca. But what I think I can do is, I think I can do the best job for West Seneca than my opponents can. For one thing, I'm an outsider. I am not tied to special interests in the town. I can look at the problems of the town from a kind of not disinterested, but more of an objective way. So when people say, well, it's always been like that, and it's always going to be like that, and I say, no, it's not always going to be like that. It's going to change, and I'm going to make it change. I mean, as from my experience in the Army, from my experience in the FBI, catching criminals, catching spies, catching terrorists, investigating public corruption, I know that things can change, and they are going to change if I'm elected. So that's what you can expect from me. You can expect someone who's independent, who's not going to be bound by trying to find a job for his his sister's nephew who can't get a job anywhere else. No, we're gonna cut taxes, and we're gonna make West Seneca the best town that we can. And that's I could talk about that more, but there is another question. Do you support more rental communities in West Seneca? If they make sense for West Seneca, yes. If they don't, then no. West Seneca needs a broader tax base. The best tax base is commercial. As supervisor, that will be my emphasis. However, there are, if someone buys a piece of property and that property is zoned for a rental community, then they get to. I mean, it's their right to build it, but it's also the neighbor's right to make sure that it's done well and that it's done without impacting them. So it's a give and take. So I can't say no to no rentals. I think they're already part of the town, and I think they will be part of the town. I heard from 2 town reps that new subdivisions cost the town money. Discuss. That very well be the case. I heard from someone else that certainly single-family homes are not a net plus for our tax base. So yeah, all of that is of interest. Like I said, my emphasis will be on commercial, it will be on businesses, will be on the Seneca Mall, it'll be on the developmental center. What can we do with that? I mean, all of that plays into it, and that's why I say this is a full-time job. This is not a job for someone who's got some other business or anything like that. This is probably, as my wife says, she's going to be a political widow for the next 4 or 8 whatever years that I'm in power. And we did not. Oh, wait, look, we might have gotten a text. Oh, no text. Okay. Do you live in West Seneca currently? Of course I do. So, I mean, you couldn't run for it, for the office if you didn't. I live at 543 Union Road. You're welcome to come visit. My address is on my campaign page. My phone number is just about everywhere. Give me a call, ask me questions. So, my wife is from Western New York. That's why we came here after I retired. But you know what we did? We came here and we looked all around Western New York. We looked in the north towns, we looked in the south towns, and we settled on West Seneca. We settled on West Seneca because of a combination of affordability and as I said to Patty, my wife, people seem very, they did not seem pretentious. They seemed like good people. So we bought a house, and I told my kids, I'm not leaving this house till except in a body bag. We have made our home here, and therefore, it is in my interest just as much as yours to make sure that West Seneca is the best town that it can be, and that's what I'd like to do. We've got 3 minutes. Is there anything else? Oh, we do have one. Oh, wait. No. Any other questions there?
How would you get businesses interested in West Seneca? We have absolutely no places to shop.
Right. Well, first of all, let me give a shout out to the Southgate Plaza for quickly finding a replacement for Bonton. I mean, I think that was excellent. We are part of a suburb, so we can drive, we can go outside West Seneca, but I think the supervisor's main job is economic development and being the main cheerleader for the town. Working with current business owners, working with the Chamber of Commerce, working with potential business owners to help them find a place to do business at West Seneca. We also do that by making West Seneca a more attractive town, by enforcing our codes, by fixing, by doing what we can to beautify the town, and so really that's what everybody is going to say. The other candidates for this position are going to say probably the exact same thing. So I would like to leave you with one thought. Look at my career in the Army, in the FBI, and most importantly, once I arrived in West Seneca. I've been going to town board meetings. I've got an award from the Buffalo-Niagara Coalition for open government, for working on open government in West Seneca. I've saved the town money already. I have been active in trying to fix West Seneca. I have been going, like I said, I go to the town board meetings. I have the team that we have built, the people who are running for the council, all are very active in West Seneca, trying to fix the town board. We're focusing on fixing the government in West Seneca, and that's what we're going to do. If we're elected, we're going to make West Seneca the best town in Western New York, and we're going to give West Seneca a town government that it deserves. Any last thoughts? Well, great. Wow, we hit the 7:30 on the nose. Thank you very much. What we're going to do is, in maybe 3 weeks or so, we're going to do this again. Maybe I'll have a guest, but we'll continue this discussion. And as always, you can call me at 777-2504. If you got any questions, you can come by my house. I would love to talk to you. I will be out going door to door, starting very quickly, and I hope to meet as many of you as possible. And we are going to give West Seneca, the town board, town government that it deserves. And it's one that puts the interests of the taxpayers first. Thank you very much.